Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. The content in today's session comes straight out of a recording that I put into Success Groups recently. Obviously, during these difficult times for small business owners, I'm doubling down the content that I'm making available to my members. It's also content that is very much specifically focused on the current situation where we are all at as small business owners right now. So if you haven't yet subscribed to this podcast, please do subscribe to this podcast because the content you're going to be getting here is completely specifically relevant to where we are currently at in the UK and, let's be honest, globally. The content I'm going to be putting out there, it's about putting out the right things at the right time. I sound like Boris Johnson now, don't I? But it's about putting out the right content at the right time, about solving the right problems at the right time. So I've already put out content around staying calm and the importance of not allowing fear to get in the way of what we're doing. Last episode, I put some content in there about getting those immediate worries, concerns, those things that are immediately threatening you out of the way, get them out of your field of vision so that you can start to work on longer term problems, longer term projects that you're going to have to in order to maximize your opportunities available to you right now. I appreciate many of those opportunities are shrinking right now before your very eyes. However, there's always some opportunity. And of course, we want to just maximize what we get out of the current opportunities, whilst also, as you're hearing this episode, minimalizing any fallout that we have, and of course getting ourselves fucking ready for when this thing passes and normal business resumes, hopefully in the not so distant future. Today's content is taking the content we did last time one step forward, and it's about starting to break that down into core focuses, breaking it down into to-dos. And I also give away a free sheet here. I'm going to make it available to you as well. I will put the link in the description of this podcast as well. And it's just a worksheet that I use. We've been using it at Success Groups for years now. My members have been using it for years. And it's a sheet that enables you just to focus and get clarity on what it is that you need to do today. And in today's current climate, oh my God, you need that degree of focus. There's a lot of information coming at you. There's a lot of things screaming at you, shouting at you. There's a lot of things to think about and to solve and to maybe even worry about. You want to make sure that you're putting your time, your attention on the things that you need to in the right order. So with the last episode number 119, in conjunction with this one, 120, they go together absolutely perfectly. And please, if you haven't listened to 119, go and listen to 119 first, because it sets up what I'm going to be helping you with in this episode 120. It's about taking things one day at a time. For many of us, we're no longer able to be thinking long-term strategy right now. I often talk about long game and stuff like that. Right now, for many of us, we are playing a very short, very tight, maybe even a very defensive game right now. So the content in this episode is really about one day at a time, doing what you need to do to move those things forward in order to get you into a place where you need to be to, number one, survive this thing. Number two, capitalize on whatever opportunities might be out there during this thing. And number three, get ready to smash it when this thing ultimately passes. Hello and welcome to another little mini session. And today's mini session follows on from what we did last time. Last time we were looking at keeping ourselves as calm as possible, getting ourselves to that T point, that place of relative calm in this crazy storm. And then it was about saying, right, what's the first problem I need to solve? Because I said you can't solve everything all at once, and the brain naturally wants to try and solve all of these things, and it's doing it through fear and panic and terror and knee-jerk reactions and that. And we need to start getting much more strategical. So the last one I put out there, if you haven't listened to that or watched that, then please do make sure you do. I'm really talking about how, once you get yourself to a place of relative calm, right? Relative. I appreciate total calm may be a little bit a little bit elusive right now. But relative calm, once you're in that relative calm, is saying, right, what's the first thing that's going to get me as you see it, right? So I can get that out of the way because then it clears my vision. So if it's getting the virus, solve that one. Immediate cash flow, solve that one. Retention of clients, solve that one. What do I do with my current staff? You know, where do we put our energies? Do I furlough them, whatever it's called, put them at home? Boom, move on. Makes sense? This is what we want to do. Today, what I want to talk about now is give you that tool again. This is a recap, okay? A recap for so many of you guys at Success Groups and stuff like that. And it's just to remind you of a resource that's there, which is this day planner, okay? Now, the day planner is so powerful at the best of times. Right now, the worst of times, potentially for many of us, it is worth its own weight in gold. I keep talking about how potentially, you know, we're going to find our peace and our calm, and we're going to be productive and function well. And then we're potentially going to lose our shit, and the fear is going to kick in, whether it's external stimuli, the news, or something happens in our business or in our family, and we're going to go back into fear again and panic. And, you know, the idea is to keep coming back to that T I keep talking about, you know, on the tennis court. From that place in the tennis court, you can cover the whole court. So come back to your calm, come back to your peace, come back to your creativity, come back to your optimism. That's where you can cover all your bases here, right? Okay, it's where you can solve all your problems the best you can right now. So then we're going to look at it and say, right, once you've got your problems, the first problem, second problem, you then say, right, you want to project this stuff. Now, you can't do this work. I keep saying this, you can't do this work from panic, from fear and terror and everything else. You can do this from worry, and you can do it from mild anxiety. Obviously, as calm as you can get, the better. But if there's an underlying anxiety or worry right now, then that's the best you've got. That's the best you've got. Come and do the best you can. But you're never going to do this from fear, panic, and worry. So fear, panic, and terror, sorry. So, you know, go and walk the dog, go and, you know, have a kit, watch some Netflix, get your head cleared, and then come back and do this work, right, when you're a little bit higher functioning. This thing's really simple, okay? We've used it many times before. I'll make this available again, okay? And when we're looking at this, basically what you've got, and you see the order on this, I've numbered it 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay. So the way this works is, I'll draw all over this. Every day, right? Number one, you want to have a little list of who is it that you are waiting on, okay? Who are you expecting to hear from in business or life to do with your main projects that you're solving? Remember I said before, go and check out the last little mini session if you haven't, right? But basically, what's my first problem I need to solve to clear that out of the way? Second problem, third problem. That's what we're looking at here, right? I'm solving my problems. You can't solve everything at once, okay? You might have 1 or 2 things open at the same time. That's fine. And, you know, you may have had some longer term things that you needed to just instigate now without trying to solve the whole thing. But you need to say, right, I need to put that application in to the bank, or put that application into the government or whatever, or my accountant, and that might take a week to come back, or 2 days, 3 days, whatever it might be. So it might be you put that in and then you come back and work on your things, right? On your problems. The immediate one, to clear it out of your field of vision so you can keep thinking clearer and clearer about the longer term picture, so we can maximize our, as I keep saying, the 3 things, right? Minimalize the damage right now, maximize any opportunity that's available to you right now, and get fucking ready, right? They're the 3 things we're focused on, and you should too. So who am I waiting on, right? So every morning, this is really good, or the night before, take your sheet. You can update the sheet or rewrite the sheet completely. Say, right, who am I waiting for? I'm waiting for person A and person B, person C, right? Here's what I'm waiting on. You then go and check, okay? In the morning, you'll go and check your emails, or you go and check your phone messages, wherever this is, your post, wherever these people are gonna come back to you on, and you check for these before anything else, okay? Don't get distracted by the news. Don't get distracted by even family stuff or anything else. This is what I'm waiting on, right? Super focused on that. The next thing is this, your list of who do you need to get in touch with, right? And again, there'll be person 1, person 2, person 3. These are the people you need to get in touch with to move those projects forward, to move that agenda forward as you've outlined based on what we talked about last time, okay? Then you say, right, number 3, right, is will do. These are your 1, 2, 3, whatever it might be. I err away from saying, you know, 20, 30, 40 things, right? That's a different list. I'll come to that in a minute. These are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you are gonna get done today that move your core main projects forward. Does this make sense? That's what you're gonna do, right? So you're gonna do this 1, 2, 3. Before you do anything else, I mean it, before you get distracted in that, make sure you do the 1, 2, 3. This is best practice in good times. It's essential practice in these more difficult times. Then you've got your to-do list. Well, your to-do list is your bucket, right? So there, I've written 1, 2, 3 there. You've got your 4, your 5, your 6, your 7, your 8, You know, your 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You can have a list of everything there, right? This is everything you need to do. This is where you get it out of your head. It's like a bucket. You get all that stuff out of your head and you get it down somewhere, right? You get it down somewhere. For me, I get it on this sheet. I put it there. And what it means is if I've done my ABC that I'm waiting on, I've checked in with those, then I get in touch with 1, 2, or 3. It might be that I also have to get in touch with B because B hasn't got back to me. I've left it 2 days. They should be back to me by now. So guess what? I carry B over. I check, have they got back to me? No. I carry them over. I get in touch with B as I'm also getting in touch with my 1, 2, 3 people in order to move these immediate things out the way that I need to get onto the longer things. Then I sit and say, right, here's 1, 2, or 3 things I must do. It's good to do this the night before if you can do this with a clear head. If not, do it first thing in the morning before you get stuck into anything, before you get distracted by anything. 1, 2, 3 things. Right, tick, 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 you've done those. Then what you get to do, you can either go and do whatever else you need to do that's not on this priority list, or what you do then is you say, right, I want to get a jump on number 4, 5, and 6, okay? What most people do is they have a to-do list that's got like 10 things on it, 15 things on it, 20 things on it, and they pick number 1, number 7, number 13, number 18, right? And it's all random and higgledy-piggledy, and yeah, it's moved things forward a little bit, but in no kind of cohesive way or in no kind of focused way. What this does is saying, right, number 1, number 2, number 3, most important things I need to do right now to move that core project forward. That core project is the one that's going to solve that immediate problem and maybe the second and then maybe that third problem. Make sense? Then you go up here, you'll see your current goals, right? Well, your goals are for your current period, okay? So up here, you might have, I don't know, 10 goals, right? These are where you've got your outcomes. This is what you're working towards. This is your problems you're trying to solve. These are other goals that you might set yourself, you know, for example, using this time and make it really important to clear your head, get out. Maybe meditation is really important to you right now. Exercise, nutrition, taking that time out to speak to family members, be with your children, whatever it might be, right? So what you do then is say, right, here's my core goals, right? And again, you want to make sure you've got those goals in place. Obviously, at Success Groups, we do this all the time. You've got your core goals, so you know what's important here, right? Okay, and then you've got your core focuses. And these are literally like, you know, your A star, B star projects, right? This is the really important shit. It's probably not important right now what you're going to be doing in 6 months' time or even maybe 3 or 4 months' time. It's probably not important right now, right? Okay, compared to the immediate things that you're probably having to deal with right now in this inverted commas crisis. Does this make sense? So when you put this sheet together, what you'll do is once you've done your project work, like we talked about last time, you say, right, my first problem, protect myself and my family from coronavirus. Second problem, protect my cash flow. I've got 2 weeks, 4 weeks left in business, protect my cash flow. Each one of those is going to be focuses. Each one of those is going to have goals, little projects behind it. Each one of those goals will probably have a set number of tasks. Does this make sense? This is how this sheet comes together. So what you've got then is you'll have your focuses. Your focuses then get broken into goals, okay? Your goals then become your will-do list, okay? So your will-do list is like your hard, this is what absolutely will happen. This is what I'm absolutely committed to doing today. 1, 2, 3, it can be small little things that just, you know, maybe there's chaos going on in every area of your life right now, but you've identified, I've got to get these things done. I've got to, you know, apply for a grant. I've got to do this with the inland revenue. I've got to do X, Y, Z with, you know, whatever it might be, my bank. And you're saying, right, I must move these 3 things forward in order to get the financial project, you know, focus out the way out my field of vision so then I can tackle the problems that come beyond that. Otherwise, I'm just here, you know, with all my problems right in my face on financial issues and health issues and family issues and, you know, long-term issues and technology issues and, oh my God, you get what I'm saying? It's too much. You can't do it all here. You want to pick through it, right, sequentially. Then you've got your to-do list, which is basically all the to-dos that need to happen. They're not all going to happen today probably, but it's somewhere to get them out of your head. And then you've got, obviously, you're waiting on you get in touch with. The order you do it with, okay? The order you create the list is actually in reverse order, right? Which is, okay, so my 6 focuses, 6 is my focuses. So number 6, I start with that. Number 5 is the goals. Number 4 is all my to-do list. Number 3 is what I will do. Number 2 is who I need to get in touch with. And number 1 is who I'm waiting on. That's kind of how you set the sheet out, but you work through it every day in the order that I've numbered them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This makes sense? So when you work through, you don't do 2 until you've done 1. Check on check on who you're waiting on. Have they got back in touch with you? Take the action you need to take to move that forward. So yeah, the bank did get back to me. They need me to sign a form. Right, sign that form, send it on. Makes sense, right? Now I'm waiting on them again. Makes sense? So I've gone from waiting on them, I take the action on them, and now I'm waiting on them again, and they sit there and I can move on. Excuse me. Still fighting off this chest thing. So then we've got the get in touch with. So maybe I need to get in touch with someone that I was waiting on. It's been too long now, or long enough. I need to chase them up. So they go on my get in touch. So I carry that person over, boom, and I add them to the list of people I need to reach out to. This list is going to be based on, not everyone you need to talk to in the world, based on who do I need to talk to in order to solve these immediate problems I need to solve to clear my head, okay? When I do this normally, we're talking about longer term projects, longer term objectives, and playing a much longer game. Right now, most of us are playing a very short, tight game. It's what do I need to do today, this week, for the next 2 weeks to solve this immediate thing that's going to get me, this next immediate thing that's going to get me, and then we can start stretching it and saying, right, now what's my longer term strategy for the remainder of this crisis? And then we can start thinking, right, now what's my strategy for when we get to the other side of this crisis? And that's what I want to get you to, right? That place where you're getting a head start on the market, a head start in the world, that when things do start to go back to, inverted commas, normal, right? We're ready to go. But you're not going to do it in this crazy place if we're in this, complete terror, panic, running around headless chickens place. So that's why I want to try and get you through this sequential order of dealing with these things to get us into a place where we can then start to look longer term focused again. Probably not 12 months or 2 years. You might get that luxury, right? You might be already thinking, well, maybe online's an opportunity for your business you never thought about. It's probably not going to be, as I said last time, the one that's going to solve your immediate problem. But if we can get these other things in place and solve these other things and get these immediate threats out of the way, then it might well be that that you take more time to invest on something that maybe is much longer term, right? Maybe you do once those immediate threats are done. So here we go. So pull it over, get in touch with everyone I need to get in touch with. Now what? Now I'm waiting on them. So if I get in touch with person 1, 2, 3. And I've carried B over and I've, from the waiting on. Now, all of those people go back to the other side of the list, don't they? Because now I'm waiting on them. So I've cleared that box because that's what you want to make sure. That's your to-do list there as well, right? In terms of who you get in touch with. So you want that box clear because now you've got in touch with all of the important people. I've checked number one, I've checked all the important people I'm waiting to hear from based on my immediate things I'm trying to solve. Then I've got in touch with everyone I need to get in touch with. That box is now clear. Everyone's now sitting in the waiting on box. I can move on. I then do my 3 to-dos. I do my 3 to-dos. From there, I can go and walk the dog. From there, I can go and do whatever I need to do. From there, I can go and knock off number 4, number 5, number 6. I can carry on knocking through that to-do list. Does it make sense? I hope it does. I will include this worksheet as well with this session for you, just so you've got it. You don't have to use my sheet. You can take the lessons from this content and apply them on your own sheet or in your own diary or your own, whatever app you're using or whatever. But that kind of process is what you want to be thinking about. But it starts with getting your head clear at the beginning. What are my core focuses right now? Typically, when I do this before, your current goals might be goals for an entire quarter. Core focuses might be for the year. It's possible, it's probable, it's likely we're playing a much shorter, much tighter game. Core focuses might literally be, based on what we talked about last session, it's really possible that what you might have is your core focuses could be literally the next 2 weeks. It could be literally the next 2 weeks, sorting out the coronavirus, sorting out my parents, sorting out my kids, sorting out my cash flow, and then sorting out what I'm doing with my staff, right? It might be, and I keep saying that order, I said it last time, that's the order you do it. Get your cash flow sorted first, right? If you need loans, if you need your grants, whatever, try. I'm not saying everyone can. Try and get the money sorted first, because then you can make the right decisions about whether you lay off your staff or you send them home and let the government pay for them or whatever you do, right? It's same with, your suppliers and your contractors and, the other businesses that support you and everything else, right? Before you start laying everybody off willy-nilly, get the money right and then make the right decisions, because it's hard to make the right decisions when the money's not there. When the money's there, it's much easier to make those right decisions. Makes sense. Okay, right, let's move on, okay? So, once you've done the will do, you've got your to-dos, then you can come back and you can start looking at those current goals. Once you've wiped out, you can see there's all those immediate focuses. What do? Get a new sheet, start again. Now, obviously, you're not going to just do like the first one and then do all that and then think about the second one. To a degree, you need to do a little bit of project work on this ongoing. So what you want to do is, as you're moving through it, so I want you to imagine, as you're moving through, last time I said from point A to point B being when we're out the other side of this crazy world and it's crazy times and we're kicking it. And I said there's a series of problems in there. So obviously we don't want to just look at problem one. What we're doing is we're solving problem one first, but by doing this little bit of work, by looking at what these main problems are, we're banking them for later. Okay, does this make sense? So of course, as we move through, you'll be increasingly working on aspects of the different projects, focuses, crisis, issues, whatever you're trying to solve. So, you might be now working focused, like number one's the most important thing, right? But obviously there might be a degree of bringing in number two right now, maybe even a degree number three. Once you solve number one, of course, you might be focusing on two, like all in on two, and there might be a little bit of three and maybe even a little bit of four. We cross that, makes sense? And you move with it, okay? So obviously that's how you're moving. So you wanna, come back to like an overall like little mini project plan. This is not like a 6 month, 12 month plan. This might be a little short, kind of a damage limitation plan or crisis plan. It could be a 2 month plan, 3 month plan for this whole thing. It might even be like, if you can't think that far, it's just okay, 2 weeks, 1 week, whatever it might be, right? And that's how this thing will play out for you the best you can, is by tackling the right problems at the right time, not trying to solve everything at once. And then having a sheet like this is so good, and get yourself to that T, get yourself back to that place of calm, that relative calm and peace when you do this. And then you can trust the sheet. Even if you are losing your head one day, if you are in total panic and fear, you just need to trust your better self, and as long as you create your plans from your better self, right? From your calm self, from your creative self, from your intelligent self, right? Makes sense? Your measured self. Then you can trust those plans. Even if you're freaking out, you just have to follow the plan, right? It's like, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, but I said that this was my core focus, these were my goals, and I said that, this is what I'm waiting on, this is what I need to get in touch with, this is what I need to do. So you know what? I'm just gonna trust this and do this shit, right? I can't connect with it, I can't see it right now. I'm buried under my own fear, my worry, my anxieties, maybe other stuff externally that's coming in and clouding my vision. Right, I just trust this. This is why it's so important. I keep saying this, get yourself to the best possible place you can. And when you find yourself in the calmest place you can, the most optimistic place you can, go in on the strategy, right? Don't be thinking, I feel really good now, let's go and walk the dog. I feel really good now, let's go and hang out with the kids. I'm not saying you shouldn't give some of the good shit to other people. I'm just saying, when you're at your best, when you're at your calmest, whether it's first in the morning, middle of the afternoon, or it catches you by surprise in the bath, one night at midnight, suddenly you go, I feel good, I'm right. You can feel the calm, you can feel the peace, feel a bit of optimism. Capitalize then, get into strategy then, and then you can trust that version of yourself, even if you maybe lose it again the next day or at some point in the future. Right, guys, hang in there. I will put this sheet and make the sheet available as well for you, so you have the template to work from. I will see you very soon. Have a good one.